the Bahamas. How is it, you wonder, we wonder, some people wonder, that some people who are aware of somebody sitting on the other side of a computer, playing with their mind, putting some sort of a spiritual energy, at least, a wave, that you can't shut down, because even though, years ago you were offered to go illegally in on a, 5-house ban signal and refused because one, it's illegal, and two, you just don't want to be held in one account with people who may have things like child porn on their computer. But in any case, these are things, there's no way to say them except to say them, things that bother me, people who do these little illegal things, whether they know they're doing it or not, that every little illegal thing that children are brought up with seeing as being excused away is, oh, it's okay, it's just cutting a corner. No one will ever say anything to me if I snap into somebody else's ban signal. Every time an adult does that where a child is present, they are turning the child into a criminal. Because the child is now being conditioned that this is okay, because there's nothing else for them. I mean, there's no Canada programming anymore where you sit and watch the 2 channels that your town or province has all day long, and while you're watching, Power Rangers or Scooby-Doo or Spider-Man, eating your fried egg sandwich kind of thing, all the Canada government, let's help the parents out, let's raise the children, let's make sure we have children who are going to be appropriate citizens, who are not going to be caused to inflict damage upon themselves by, the ever-present superpower coming over us to ruin our children and take control. So there was always an announcement in between. Now they just flick from one channel to the other, and everything they watch is just filth. Okay, I have to laugh because my husband lets my daughter watch these things, and I guess she has to keep up with them at school. I want to try and sit and watch with them myself to at least understand what it is she's watching and have some spin if it ever came up down the road that I had to help her walk out of some sort of bizarre mind control that could occur from it. But oddly enough, when I come and sit in the room, she becomes uncomfortable because apparently it's okay for her father and to know she has to watch these things, and it is to some sort of a trying to keep up with him, because that's what he watches. But the people on TV even stop talking sometimes. How is that? How are we so connected to our TV and what goes on the other side of it that not even real time, because these are tape shows, that a person's presence, a person being known, I guess when Jesus, in the Bible said, when you are in front of a child, you are now in front of God, my Father, God, their Father, because they are in front of God. How is it certain people, when they're in front of the likeness of somebody, have now caused them to suddenly be worried about what they're saying? Well, then obviously there's a God, isn't there? But how is it some, wada wipe in front of a computer somewhere, or a subsidized program where he's supposed to be doing some kind of computer security, can sit in front of a computer and hack into people's homes for other reasons, perhaps, but notice that there's a child at the other side of the computer, or a teenager, and have their own agenda, like don't take your work home. Some people can't be trusted to do that, but some people do it anyway, or do it while they're working, especially if they know how to do the subliminal messaging or some sort of eye control or light control or mind control to adults, but they start doing it to children. Why can they take a child's religion? They can blame the parents for not giving enough religion, but the world itself this past 10 years has pretty much destroyed us being able to do that without looking like we're bigots or racists or anti this group or anti that group. Okay, we've all been dismissed when years ago we were friends with everyone in all of these groups that they're, the minority groups, friends with them, but they weren't infringing themselves upon us and telling us not to have our own opinion and view and religion. The reason I can notice it and still have it occur to me and fight back from it and come back fighting is because I have 48 years of very sturdy religion, even in the 80s and 90s, when most people walked away from religion, due to my strong religious roots, with my family living so close to a church and having been so involved in the building of the church and having the cemetery so close to them in a small rural Newfoundland community, my grandparents being so strong in the church, my mother having sung in the church for years, my father's family being what my mother calls, Bible belters, very Pentecostal, not a lot of contact with them, but it was said in the house so often, almost in a bit of a negative context, because my family, who I grew up with on my mother's side, were always made to be afraid of admitting to religion, which meant we probably had the ever-present, the updepotent Nazi over our head the whole time. When you live on a coastal community in Newfoundland, I'm sure you're always afraid of these sort of attacks and wary for who might be coming up from the water, the submarines and whatnot. But how can they take control of a child's mind? Well, a child's mind hasn't had all of these sturdy developmental situations that have entered into the various, folds of the mind or portions of the brain. Also, to set up a control for God, to control the spirit.